So we've definitely got some severe weather on the table here across the northern plains, even parts of the Rockies as we move through this Thursday night. Definitely a wind threat. There could even be a few strong storms here into eastern North Carolina, South Carolina, into parts of Georgia. The tornado risk will be back here, though, through the evening hours with some large hail possible. As we head into Friday, that threat shifts off to the east. Now we're looking at parts of Iowa into Nebraska, Kansas, even Missouri, as far east as Illinois, potentially Wisconsin, and then as far southwest, maybe even to parts of Colorado. Once again, as these storms get going heading into the afternoon, the potential is on the table for mostly damaging winds with a hashed area. At least that's the highest area of concern here across parts of Nebraska, into Kansas, even Colorado too. Tornadoes as we head into Friday mostly look at least potentially possible across parts of Missouri, Kansas. Look, anywhere in this area, there's enough wind shear that some tornadoes can't be completely ruled out. Let's time some of these storms out. They're going to be big across the plains, across parts of Montana, even South Dakota. As we move through the evening hours, some of these supercells, again, could drop some very large hail. They could produce damaging winds and a few tornadoes. I don't think that can be completely ruled out. Once we move into the evening hours, this is timeline up here at the top of the screen. That right there is Eastern time, so adjust for your time zone. So as we move into the evening, those storms start to die down some. I think we'll still keep some of the storms going across the Dakotas, moving into parts of Minnesota with some rain moving through here. A few thunderstorms could be tied into some of these, but the big severe risk will be through the evening hours. As we move into Friday, though, once we get into the afternoon, we'll be looking back here across Nebraska and Colorado. These storms will fire first and then across Kansas. I think even as far south as potentially Oklahoma and Arkansas. And then as far north, again, up here into parts of Iowa and Illinois. As we move through the evening hours into the early morning hours of Saturday, that threat shifts off to the east. Saturday's threat looks like it's going to be a little bit further to the east. Now we're stretching things all the way from New York to Pennsylvania to Michigan, all the way, look at this, back to parts of Oklahoma and Colorado. But the highest risk looks like it's going to be somewhere here in the mid-Atlantic to the Midwest here from, say, Pennsylvania back through Ohio, maybe even as far west as Indiana, for some strong damaging winds, maybe even some hail, and an isolated tornado can't be ruled out again as we head into the weekend. Overall, though, this weather pattern is pretty active, considering it's now getting into late June now, almost early July. We're going to watch this cold pullback here. That's going to move east as we move into Friday and Saturday, maybe out ahead of this. I think that's where we could see some more storms through the weekend, and then this ridge here starts to build across the central part of the country. Another trough swings here through the northeast. That's going to bring some cooler weather for the first part of next week, and then it looks like the heat returns with, check it out, another trough swinging out of the Rockies. That may bring more severe weather. That may be a little too far south. More severe weather back in this area as we move into early next week. And it looks like as we head toward the 4th of July, if you're wondering what things are going to look like temperature-wise, I think we're looking pretty hot, especially here across the east. Some cooler weather trying to work in here to the northern plains. Overall, though, things are staying pretty active. A quick look into the tropics. Two areas we're watching this right here across parts of the Western Caribbean, the Southwest Gulf, also out into the Atlantic too. This one out here has a better chance of developing, about a 60% chance of developing in the next 48 hours. So that will be something to watch. So again, two areas of concern right in here and then right here, still way out in the Atlantic as the tropical season continues to ramp up with ocean waters that are still above average for this time of year. Now, temperature-wise, it is still going to be hot. We've got temperatures heading into Friday above normal in many areas. How about this? 90s pushing very close to Cincinnati once again, even up toward D.C. A little bit cooler, though, staying at least relatively cooler compared to what we've seen here across parts of the Northeast and also into the Great Lakes. Some of that heat, though, trying to return by Saturday and potentially into Sunday. We might squeeze some of that heat as far north as New York. We may get close to 90, Hartford up to Boston, even into D.C. What's interesting is some of these temperatures here east of the mountains into parts of Virginia getting hot. Maybe that's some of the downsloping flow here, just downwind of the mountains with temperatures rising into the 90s. A little bit cooler, though, as we head into Monday and Tuesday. But look, across the plains, it's hot here, and it's going to stay hot. Friday's highs likely well into the triple digits here across Texas and Oklahoma, even Kansas. Somewhat cooler here to the north as we see our front move through. Temperatures will drop back into the 70s and 80s, but Texas continues to bake with the heat, and it starts to return back north again as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week as that ridge builds east. With now we're looking at 90s pushing back into parts of southern Michigan, maybe even as far north as Chicago, close to that anyway, with a bit of a cool down headed toward the Great Lakes sometime by the end of next week. So very warm for sure, and the hot weather across Texas, also across the Southwest, will just continue for the next several days, especially across the Southwest with 100 and teens possible here. Central Valley of California staying hot too. The relief into the mountains, and it could get really hot maybe by Sunday into Monday. Look at these numbers: 117, 115 in some of the hotter deserts, 112 over toward Phoenix. It's heating up across the Southwest. Really did it cool down, though. Yeah, summer's here, guys. All right, be safe. I'll catch you next time.